Testing, testing. Alright, okay. Hello. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper 2. We are going to finish up the game. Well, technically we've already finished up the final mission, but we do have a final extra mission. And, right, go back to the rig. And we should probably remake our dice. There we go. And there we go. Now what can we do at Dark Side? Space Trader Hole. Should probably feed the cat. Cat is fed, and Flicker Row. Reboot prep. Alright. Scrapper Market. Scrap Shift. Kenta's Corner. Okay. Well, we might as well do a scrap shift. Strike it lucky by finding some valuable components encased in a hull plate. The result is a bigger payout for less effort. Alrighty. And the cycle. Okay. Back to the ship. Got my hands on some mushrooms. There we go. Okay, yeah. This is Scrapper's Market. So we're gonna wanna do a scrap shift. And the cycle. And Junie knocks gently on the frame of the berth's doorway. Sleeper, can I show you something? There's an excitement in her eyes that makes it impossible to say no. Junie takes most of the way down into the Hopip facility, which is no short journey. She exclaims the scale of the data hidden within the station's mainframe, but also the issues with extracting it. What the Hopip was first built on, first expanded, when it became Darkside, after the collapse. No one gave much thought to preserving the existing network architecture. She guides you through the substructure, picking a route through the maze of shuttered passageways. They parasited their tech directly into the existing system. So now, thousands of cycles later, the two networks are totally enmeshed, dependent on each other. Junie takes a series of sudden turns, and you realize this is a very familiar route to her now. Messing with the Solheim network means messing with the systems that keep the city going. She leads you down a long corridor, one you recognize as leading directly to the core. Let her explain. This meshing is not a good thing, she shakes her head. It makes Darkside brittle, fragile even. This place is on more of a knife's edge than anyone could believe. anyone would have believed. You look around. Certainly the underside you are now traveling through looks cycles away from collapse. But all the data we've been extracting, that I've been archiving, Junie continues, it could help us here. It could help us clean up the Hopip systems. And we could turn this place into an archive, so that others could come to learn more about the ruins Solheim left us. What is in all this data? Anything you can imagine. Everything from corporate message records to blueprints and maps. She shakes her head. It's too much for me to process or understand, but thanks to our visit to the bunker, I have a plan, and something that will help me. You arrive at the doors to the mainframe, and Junie suddenly stops. I spoke to Bliss. They told me... She pauses. I'm sorry, Sleeper. I know you have a lot to deal with right now. Don't worry. Junie smiles weakly. I'll do my best. Junie hits a button, and the door hisses open. And the doors hiss open. You both glide into the mainframe. Its column studded with blinking lights of active traffic. I got the idea from you, actually. Well, from you and Overseer. Junie glides over to the mainframe. You look at the mainframe, and you see now that it is surrounded by new terminals and wiring. Some kind of external access network Junie set up. I've had to beg, borrow, and steal to get this going, but now we have safe access into the network. It's low risk. She moves over to one of the terminals. It's not quite finished, though. You recall the last time you were here. Lane, Overseer. The spear of white light, and then nothing. You wonder where Overseer is now, if they are anywhere at all. You remember how it felt, being dissolved into the network. The vertiginous possibility of a life without a body. Something flickers through the lights, a shimmer of movement, like a fish beneath water. Sleeper? Junie breaks your train of thought. Are you listening? I was saying I need more data to finish preparing. She shrugs. I know. We've already extracted so much. But there's often so little of it that's usable among the bit rot and corruption. Where from? Helion Gate is the place to get data. Apart from here, it's the biggest pre-collapse facility in the belt, and its hostile condition means a lot of it is untouched. If it's too much before you reboot, I get it. I just want to do something with everything we've managed to grab from the bunker and the wrecks. We've pulled it from the dark, let's expose it to the light. Junie turns back to face you. Well, this is what I wanted to show you. She looks away. It's very impressive. It will be when it's finished, she smiles. Thank you. Junie turns back to the terminal. Before long, she is fully engrossed. You imagine she barely even remembers you are here. You leave Junie to her preparations and start your ascent to the streets of Darkside. Thoughts of Overseer flickering in the back of your mind. Alrighty. Okay, so we are... Shift boxes... On Keaton, those working with her have gathered and packed a lot of Utsobo materials, but they need moving out. The safe house stretches deep into the block and beyond. Utsubo has many secrets. It's time to reveal them. Okay, alright. Is there anything over here? Nope. Was this always here? God, I hope not, or else I'm going to feel very dumb. Oh, hey. Positive outcome. Lovely. Neutral outcome, more expected. I was hoping we might be able to get that done in one. Okay, so we need to get some supplies. We're gonna go to Hexport Remains. Investigate remains. Actually, let me check something real quick. Do I have any? I have 2 skill points. So you want to take someone with engineering expertise and intuit. So, the drive that ruined Cadet's life points to data to dark drone mind experiments of Hexport. The only answers will be found in the remains of the station. Alright, let's go. So Cadet has engineering. We'll get Nia. Nope, we'll get Nia. And there we go. Nia has intuition, and that's the one thing we are bad at. You feel the moment you wake. A flicker at the edge of your perception, a sensation beyond your body. A blinking, a tugging, and then numbness as something shuts off within you. The panic is instant, the feeling of something not being right within you spiking your fear. But no pain comes, you feel no further shifts, and as time stretches out, you settle again. You calm yourself. You know immediately that this is what Bliss was referring to. Your frames decline, the one the reboot should reverse. You flex a little, feel your body, try to ground yourself in it. It will not collapse this cycle, but something has changed. This is how it will be until the reboot. You hope you have long enough to finish what you must. You begin the cycle slowly, holding the pieces of yourself together. You try not to let your thoughts wander to darker things, and fix your eyes on the tasks ahead. The belt drifts past the window, following a flow of its own, expanding, collapsing, shifting, in its own way. People say it is drifting away, getting further from Helion's star, that one day it will drift out of the system altogether, into interstellar space. You find a strange solace in that, somehow knowing that entropy is the way of the universe makes your own decline palatable, at least for a little longer. As the rig drew closer to Hexport, the crew became silent. Now, staring out at what is left of what was once a thriving station, you feel empty. The full extent of the damage is impossible to ignore. Grim, Seraphim shakes his head, as if feel like we were here that long ago. He sighs. And now this is what's left. You look at the clouds of scattered debris, the layers of the station torn open to the void. It is a reminder of how close the war and the unseen atrocities of the inner system are to shifting into the belt. I don't like digging around in a place like this. Seraphim turns to you. Let's be quick about it. Agreed. We'll be fast. Seraphim nods. I'm here if you need me. You head to the airlock to suit up and get ready. You ready for this? Cadet catches you up with you in the passageway. This place has already given me the creeps. I'm ready. Cadet nods. If there are answers to be found, we'll find them. I don't like being in here. Nia's suiting up. But Femi and I could have... She stops herself. We need to find out who's responsible for this. Cadet takes a suit from the locker. Seraphim said the radiation is lower than expected, but still too high for prolonged exposure. The suit should keep most of it off of us, but we can't take long out there. The stress on the suits and the rig? She sighs. We'll be forced to leave in 3 cycles. Cadet grabs a helmet. Not a moment more. You got ready too, your mind filled with the memories of Hexport. You hope they will help you navigate this shattered ruin, but looking at what's left, you doubt it. You have gained a permanent glitch die. A permanent glitch represented in red in your glitch clock and will not be expanding when rolling a glitch die. You now have a chance of rolling a glitch die every cycle. This cannot be fixed. Oof. Okay. Ruined exchange. Search ruins. Hunt for data. Okay. 100% positive. Alright. Oh yeah, right, she doesn't go to hack. Oh no, action unavailable. Okay. You hear that, sleeper? Cadet stops among the debris just outside the ruined exchange. The search so far has been thankless, a grim slog through endless debris. You are glad of the break. You stop, floating in the dark, and listen. There is a hissing on the open comms channel, a thing you've grown used to, now that you listen to again. Though, you notice something else in the noise. There is something different to it now, a texture, a modulation of tone. Is that? A voice. Cadet cuts in. Someone is speaking. Her eyes look wide through the faceplate of her suit. You listen carefully, and yes, perhaps there is a voice there, though it is quiet and distant. It could be a person speaking, or it could be some residual signal from an automated system, one that is slowly dying in this wasteland. You see Cadet moving around, testing the signal strength from different positions. It's coming from the direction of the docks. Her voice hisses through the comms, layering over the broadcast. A survivor? Cadet meets your eyes, both of you hoping this might be true. It's probably just a comms echo. Seraphim voice cuts into the comms. We can't go chasing ghosts, not with so little time left. The raid can't sit out here being cooked by radiation, and neither can you. Seraphim's voice distorts and shifts. You would move to the epicenter, where Factory Row used to be. That's where this all went down. Cadet looks at you, and you know she wants to chase the signal into the docks. She wants there to be somewhere there, calling out to you. You look out towards the remains of Factory Row, the epicenter as Seraphim called it. It is now a cloud of debris and fragments of bays, a shadow of what it once was. For the first time in a long while, you think of Karsten. You look back at the remains of the docks, a few warming lights and systems still flickering away in the ruins. With not much time left, here, you have a choice about where to focus your efforts. Ruined docks. The epicenter. What do we need in the epicenter? Intuit and engage. Okay. All right. Come on. Alright, the glitch die didn't go off. That's good. Okay, the faster we get this, the faster we can investigate that. Alright. Yep, there is the permanent glitch die. Search for survivors, trace the broadcast. Okay, we'll finish this up. Wait, what? Really? Are you kidding me? Don't do this to me now. Okay, there we go. You float, and the pieces of what was once Factory Row. There is little way to see what these pieces once were. Scattered and scorched as they are, you cannot assemble them back into that place in your mind. The longer you have searched here, the more that this broken place has weakened your memory of what was once whole. But you have managed to put something together here, part of the story of Hexport's final moments. The story is told in the blast marks on the exterior plates, the pattern of debris, the material and makeup of the station's remains. Beyond that, one other thing is remarkable. There aren't any bodies. It seems that Hexport had some warning. The lack of docked ships, the lack of mass casualties. Though the explosion surely killed many, it all suggests a station that had time to react, to at least evacuate in part. And then there's the blast, an explosion that the evidence points to as coming from the outside of the station. It is hard to tell, as so much secondary damage was caused by all the debris and chaparral. but the pattern is there if you look. Something catches your eyes, and you look over to see Cadet arriving alongside you, staring at the same debris as you. What do you think? I think, her voice crackles through the comms leak, whoever did this is a monster. The explosion came from the outside. Cadet shakes her head. Maybe a Conway drone? Called here by the drone mind as they dissected it? An attempt to destroy itself and the data before it fell into someone's hands? You look at the remains of the station. Could it be that simple? The drone mind, in its desperation, calling in a strike on itself? But then who was taking the drone apart and scraping its secrets? It doesn't feel quite right. Nothing here does. In the end, there's only one conclusion. Those who brought the drone mind to Hexport, who dug into its code and systems while it was alive, they ended the station. Anything else? Nope. Okay. To the ruin docks we go. There we go. Might as well. Okay. And rip. Oh, come on. 75% of something happening. Don't do this to me. Neutral outcome. Yeah. Okay, alright. Well, nothing broke. Come on. Urgent. The broadcast echoes through your comms. Retrieval required. Conway network agents, please respond. You float beside Cadet, the two of you shocked to silence by the side in front of you. Both of you have traced the ghost signal deep into the docks, all the time wondering if it might be the voice of a survivor, but you had not prepared yourself for this. In the corner of the dock, there is a nest of machines, a gathering of drones and motorized shells, crane systems and docking clamps. A nest for the drone mine. Stop, please. The voice shimmers with distortion. Relayed on the same carrier signal as the ghost broadcast. We wish to be recovered. Drone mind, a desperate and dying machine. You don't know the mechanics of what you are looking at, but you understand it. The drone mind fled here. But how? You exchange a look with Cadet, and she seems unsure what to do. You switch your comms channel to the broadcast signal. What happened here? Unverified access, unable to resist, requesting recovery. The drone's mind voice trembles with glitches. Confirm Conway, extractions, role, and identity. You wonder what this mind knows. Is it just an interface designed to speak between humans and drones, with the recognizable cadence of intelligent speech? Or is it a thinking machine? You hear click as Cadet switches to a private channel. This thing is a weapon. Her voice is flat, unemotional. We should be careful what we say here. Confirm Conway extraction's role and identity. The drone mind tones. Please. Okay. Okay. I mean, the Conway... I don't like Conway, so... Oh... You make up a designation that sounds plausible. Cadet turns to you and raises an eyebrow. Confirming with central control, the nest shudders. Confirmation impossible. Connection severed. Retrying. Look, Cadet hisses through the private channel. It's hardwired to the station. You look where she is nodding and see a single, thick power cable, snaking from an industrial wall outlet. The nest is clustered around the other end, huddling close to the fading power supply of the station like it's the dying embers of a fire. Urgent. The broadcast starts again. Retrieval required. Conway Network agents, please respond. Cadet moves forward a little. I order you to deliver a report on your current status. This is a direct report from Conway Control. She turns back to you and shrugs. It's worth a shot. Confirmation impossible. Connection severed. The nest fades, then flickers back to life. Temporary bypass activated. Cognition function minimal. Power supply minimal. Hardware suboptimal configuration. No drone units connected. I am alone. The shift between communication registers between formal and human is unsettling. Code center compromised. Data extracted by third party. Self-destruct disabled. Purge protocols disabled. Part of the nest falls away, the power draining faster as the drone mine attempts to draw more from the station. Please, the drone mine asks nonsensically, please stop. Did you destroy this station? Cadet moves close now, bearing down on the nest. It is little more than a pile of broken machines, cowering in the corner as the power fades. Self-destruct attempted, process failed. Hardware purge attempted, process failed. Self-preservation protocol activated. Propagated through the station network. Station failed. Control failure imminent. Please stop. The machine in the nest begins to go dark. Please stop. Please stop. Cadet turns back to face you. It didn't do this, she sighs. It tried, though. Tried to destroy itself and take the station with it. She turns back to look at the failing mind, hiding in machines it was not built to inhabit. It escaped into the network and ended up here. It isn't responsible. Responsible or not, that's enough. Cadet reaches over and rips the power cable from the wall, leaving it floating. The nest shuts off, the broadcast channel going silent. The bay goes dark. What was left of the drone mine, whatever protocol or data escaped into these machines and their network, is gone now. There is no hardware left to hold it. This is why Hexport was destroyed. The drone mine got out, entered the network. Who knows what it might have done? Did it have taken apart the station itself, overloading every system, opening every airlock? Was its drive towards self-destruction that strong? Someone didn't wait to find out. Its escape sealed the station's fate. Come on, Cadet glides out of the room, leaving you among the dead machines. Alrighty then. Out we go. There's not much to celebrate on your return from the remains of Hexport, but you're glad to be here all the same. There's something surprising in that. Darkside as a haven, not a prison. The slowly occurring idea of this overgrown city as a home. As you have seen in Hexport, stability cannot be taken for granted, nor anywhere in the belt. But Darkside has solidity and life that feels like it might endure. Cadet catches up to you. We need to talk. She looks around. But not here. Come. I have something I want to show you. Bliss has been in touch, Sleeper. Seraphim turns and looks over his shoulder. As soon as you enter the cockpit, he settles in the pilot seat, running diagnostics on the console. They say they are ready for the reboot. Did they say anything else? You know, Bliss. Seraphim rolls his eyes a little. They worry. He turns fully in his seat. How are you feeling? Rough. Seraphim nods and doesn't answer. He seems to be thinking about something. I know the reboot needs to happen. Seraphim speaks slowly, carefully. And I know the risks. I can see all that. But I also know what happened last time. He pauses. And I don't want you to forget again, to lose all this. He gestures around the cockpit. Everything we've done. Neither do I. Seraphim nods silently, unsure what to add. I'm not trying to scare you, I just need to say that if the reboot doesn't go how we want, I'll miss you. I'll miss all of that. I will too. If you remember. Seraphim laughs shakily at his own joke. Seraphim turns back to his pilot console. Whenever you're ready, you can go to Flicker Row, to Bliss. Seraphim pokes at the console in front of him. If you have things you want to wrap up first, I understand. I would too. Here. Seraphim tosses an object from the cockpit and you catch it out of the air. Take that with you when you go to Bliss. It's good luck. You open your hand and see a familiar metal disc, a coin, its engraving rubbed away to little more than a vague shape and signs. Tyler gave it to me. Now it's yours. You can't run from this forever, alright? He glances over his shoulder and smiles. We've done enough running anyways. He turns back to the console and returns to the diagnostics. You leave the cockpit and run a hand along the ribbed metal wall of the passage's side. Is it really possible that you could forget all this? All these layers of memory, of experience? Perhaps you can pull it off a little longer. Take another tour around the belt. Tie up loose ends. Or perhaps you've had enough of that. Why try to escape the inevitable? You try to recall how it felt when you awoke after Lane interrupted the first reboot. Even that is fading into hazy memory, told by an unreliable narrator. Maybe this is just the next step then, one of the thousands that put you here, and the first of the thousands more that will take you onwards. You come out of your thoughts still unsure, still aware that the decision of where to take that step ultimately rests with you. Cadet leads you deep into the heart of Darkside, through quiet corridors, bustling streets, on paths you didn't know existed. As you glide after her, the station seems to grow in your mind, its possibilities multiplied by the routes that pass through it. Just through here, Cadet leads you across a covered bridge, the view on either side looking down the cavern of late units. As close to the center of Darkside, the air is warm and the passages are quiet. Here, Cadet smiles, this is the place. She points at a low, wide entrance with strange racks inside. Next door is a smaller unit with a window looking out to the passage. It seems like a workshop, perhaps abandoned or never finished. It is dusty and dark. I've been keeping an eye on it. It's abandoned. She glides inside and slaps a wall pad. Lights flicker on, illuminating a constellation of dust. She floats in the glittering specks. Looks promising? Cadet laughs. Okay, I know it's a wreck, but it's a start. We've been on Darkside. I've been coming out here. I just happened across it, but I knew when I found it. I want to start again, Sleeper. She knocks on the metal wall. And this is where I'm going to make that start. What we saw in Hexport, what's left of it, just confirmed it to me. We can't stop these people. We can't stop the war. She runs a finger among the storage racks. We have what? The drive? Or suspicions? Who can we pin this up to? She looks over the workshop. I don't want to think about it anymore. I want to start again. I want to work, to ride my bike and courier packages. And courier packages till I fall into my bed at the end of the day with nothing left. Cadet picks up an old corroded tool from the racks. I want to build something here, in spite of everything, in spite of the fact that they could take it all away, because that's the point. To go on living without conceding, to go on building, or trying to build something where we can find it. That's what I brought you here to understand, so you know why I'm letting this all go. I understand. You do the same, you know? Cadet frowns. We don't have to beat ourselves senseless against the truth. My old life is gone. Clearing my name on the far spindle doesn't matter. The spindlejacks will have forgotten me. But this place? Cadet smiles. It doesn't know me at all. You know where the drive is, what it contains. You know what happened at Hexport. Cadet's eyes shine in the workshop lights. Take it from me. It's yours now. I can't carry this anymore. I will. She nods. Thank you. My travels are over. If you need to find me, I'll be here. Cadet smiles. Thank you for all you've done. I hope you understand why I need to do this. She turns and disappears, deeper into the workshop. You cross the bridge again, Darkside glowing on all sides. You think of the drive buried deep in some compartment within the scatter yard hub, filled with data worth destroying a station over. It's yours now. But you wonder as you cross back through the city, your mind racing, how can all this end well? Alright, deal with the drive. first things first. Feed the cat. And then go to the safe house. Yeah, of course, nothing good happened. Nope, that's not what I want to do. Alright. You watch as the last stack of crates is guiding up and out of the cavernous Utsubu warehouse. You doubt it will be long before the space is filled. Darkside will not tolerate a vacuum for long. The city takes every opportunity. Its inhabitants build in every crack and crevice. As Utsubu spaces are cleared, they will be occupied. The gang's legacy will be buried under factories, kitchens, markets, and housing. But the people will remember the cold and desperate grip they once held on this place, even if the city does not. Come to gloat. The voice takes you by surprise, and you turn to see Orin floating in the shadows, arms folded. He drifts forwards in the pool of yellow light. You overthrew a tyrant. You should be pleased with yourself. His tone is flat, and you are unsure how to read his statement. It wasn't just me. Many people did this. I suppose, Orin eyes you, but from what I heard, you burnt those pale eyes out of his skull. He smiles a thin smile. I imagine it was quite the sight. You don't recall the moment of Lane's death. In fact, the abstract nature of that moment, almost dreamlike, means you had almost forgotten. You tense a little as his scream comes back to you, a screech of white noise bathed in white light. Orin is still watching you. He almost would have respected you for actually doing it. Orin inspects his knuckles. If he could have respected a creature like you. What do you want? Orin grins, just to satisfy my curiosity. I came here to clear out the old disease, just like you. Orin gestures at the space. Utsubu had to go. I came here to be part of that process. We can't burn everyone you don't like out of this place, I'm afraid. Orin folds his arms. This is our home, whether you like it or not. I didn't like Lane. It's hard to imagine anyone did. He said Darkside for the opportunity. It was, and woke Utsubu from its slumber. He turned a gang into an administration, and a city into a machine. He was too erratic for my taste, perhaps, but he held this place, shaped it into something I see that you have no intention of doing the same. So what will happen now? Orin meets your eyes. You've created a space that must be filled. Will you take responsibility for that at least? The people will decide. Oh, will they? Orin chuckles. I can see that you don't know the first thing about Darkside and its people. The people decided on Utsubu. You changed that. Now you want them to pick something else? They're opportunists, all of them. They will choose for their own benefit only. In the end, I should thank you. This city was done with Lane. Orin gives you a nod, and I'll be honest enough to admit you did what I didn't. But never forget that you are an outsider here, and Darkside hates outsiders. Before you can respond, Orin kicks off and glides up towards the upper levels of the safe house, leaving you alone in the empty space. Though you do not put weight to his words, they still sting. Perhaps you think? There is something to them. Who are you to decide the future of a city, when your own future is falling apart each cycle? Is your decline a spiral that can trap others in its wake, or a necessary transition? This crisis before a new shape emerges. You hug your arms close to your sides, suddenly cold in the stripped bare safe house, and ascend once more. Alright. Out of curiosity, how much? Cadets Couriers. Fresh start. She needs 6 data. Okay. That's to begin the reboot. fuel, fill the supplies. Oh wait, I just remembered I should really get rid of that stress. There we go. All right. Onwards we go. So we need 6 data. So we're gonna go here. And yeah, we're gonna go to scavenge fuel while we scrape data. Oh wow, huh? Screwed that up real good. Alright. So we want to get 6 points of Solheim data. We're gonna end the cycle. Absolutely fucked it. Okay. All right. Come on. Jesus Christ. All right. Got some data. And we got the 6 data at least. Feed the cat. Let's go back to dark side. And, well, no, actually. Don't want to risk anything else breaking now that we are categorically falling apart. There we go. You have been waiting for what feels like a long time. Junie insists you can't help, so you find yourself floating in the baking heat of the Hopepfus mainframe while she taps away at her terminal. As you do, you can't help but shake the feeling of a presence nearby, one that you are coming to understand is some remnant of Overseer. You don't know if Overseer was ever really a person, but now, with their many selves combined and dispersed, their consciousness expanding to fill the vast space of the Hapip and its networks, they surely aren't even close to human anymore. Think of them as a ghost, but perhaps now they are better understood as something less mournful, as a system, a process, a thing becoming. The entire station is their body. You can't help but wonder how that feels. And we are ready. Junie hits a key on her terminal with percussive force. It'll take a little while, but she'll be online in a few moments. She's flushed with excitement. She? Weren't you listening last time? Junie squints at you. Don't tell me you drifted off. I was distracted. Junie shakes her head. Then you don't know? She suddenly looks concerned. A voice screeches out of the terminal. It descends in pitch, from a squealing to speaking. Then below the mainframe, a flickering projector appears, first as lines, then as solid light. Welcome, visitors. Warden flickers and warps. I am the warden. Please provide... The image jerks and freezes and blinks out. Shit. Junie taps her terminal. Just need to reconfigure her for the hotbep environment. How's this possible? I found her, or at least an iteration of her, in what we took from the bunker. Don't worry. Junie glances over her shoulder. I've taken precautions. She can't hurt us. The technician is right. Warden's clipped voice echoes from the cavernous mainframe bay. My protocol is operating under safe mode limitations. Warden's blind eyes stare out over your head. Do not be concerned, Officer Dahl. Sorry, I'll fix that, Junie chuckles. Why the warden? Archiving was her role in the bunker. She's ideally suited to this, and she understands Solheim networks better than we ever could. Junie smiles. Come on. You have to admit this is pretty cool. You look at the statuesque form of Warden, once the heart of Solheim's intelligence-gathering operations across the belt. Could such a tool of corporate oversight ever be used for something good? Look, watch this. Junie turns to Warden. Warden, provide the last known location of every Solheim vessel above Rieger class in the Starward belt. Immediately, technician. Warden draws a circle with a pointed finger and it expands, filled with bright specks. At first hundreds, and then thousands, a constellation of sights. See, Junie grins, this is our future, built on the foundation of our past. These tools are ours now. You look at the arc of specks, the points of light describing the shape of a long-dead corporation's power. This is incredible. Junie smiles. It is. People need to know what this city, this system is built on. Warden can do that. Expose that. It will help. It will be up to us to reshape the ruins into something new. I knew when I saw her that I couldn't leave her there, alone in the dark. I've been in that dark pit, and I won't condemn another to it. She looks at the placid Warden. Human or not, how we treat her is a test of our own values, of the world we protect. Data is not a currency, it is not a commodity, it is immaterial output of a system, a structure, a society. Junie meets your eyes. There will be a place to uncover that system for ourselves. She looks around at the chaotic trailing wires and floating terminals. Once I've cleaned up a bit, she laughs. You and Junie spend a little longer in the mainframe, sorting cables and offering Warden casual queries. Not all of them return useful information, and Junie begins listing out the changes she will need to make. After a while, you both find yourself tiring, head aching with all the fresh information you have crammed into them. So you close up the core and ascend back through the layers of the facility to the dark side surface. As you do, you feel the history of each strata, the layers that make up this place, and the belt beyond. Now more than ever, it feels tangible to you, as it contains not only the past, but the promise of the future as well. Alright. Get my engineering up. So cadets stuff is going on. Alright. Okay, so we're gonna let's go back to the scatter yards. The workshop of cadets, data scraper friend, is just as the two of you left it. You remember the cycles you and cadets spent in here, poring over that dark data. The strange fragments of the drone mines, Protests seated among the cold code. You find the drive where Cadet told you it would be, in a compartment under the padding of a bunk, lined with thick shielding that makes its contents undetectable. As you pull the drive out, the metal cold on your hands, you have a sudden urge to smash it to pieces. This object which escaped export when so many others didn't. Someone, somewhere, wanted the data on this so bad that they would spend any number of lives to get it. But something went wrong, some miscommunication or mistake. That's all it was. A tiny slip, and it all falls apart. Now the drive is in your hands instead. You turn it over in your hands. You know the drive contains Conway access codes, control codes, and perhaps more besides. Data of great value, data that would win a war. You also know you are sick thinking about it. Okay. Is the risk worth the reward? Fuck it. You slip the drive into a pocket and close up the workshop. You head back to the rig, and as you do, you turn the drive over in your pocket, unsure what the next step might be. As you glide through the hub, you pass ship fitters and crews, all moving on their own vectors. It feels strange to carry the drive past these people, all of them totally unaware of the threat it might pose to them, to this station. Excuse me? A stranger stops you in the passageway with a hand on your shoulder. Stranger, a friend you haven't met yet. Can I ask for your help with something? Their sudden appearance shakes you out of your thoughts. You quickly take your hand out of your pocket, off the drive. You look at the stranger in front of you. He is roughly dressed in a heavy coat, but he is otherwise unremarkable. You could have passed him many times before and not have known. I'm looking for something. He looks over his glasses at you. A lost little drive. Who are you? This matter concerns my client more than me. He leans back a little, his voice calm, so instructions won't be necessary, but the drive belongs to my client, and he would be very happy to see it returned. Suddenly, something catches your eye. A set of dice like those used to play Star and Stoker. The stranger's playing with them in one hand, turning them end over end in the station's microgravity. What's with the dice? The stranger looks down at them, as if he had forgotten he was holding them. I must admit, I love to play games to pass the time. I enjoy the chaos of Star and Stoker, with its unpredictable shifts. He spins the floating die. My brother, however, prefers the systematic progress of Tavla, with its inevitability. I suppose it runs in our family, he sighs, but I won't bore you with childhood stories. Please, let's be direct. He gives you a friendly smile. My search for the drive brought me to the scatter yards, but from here the trail went cold. That was until you arrived. He pushed his glasses up his face. The trail lit back up again, just like that. The stranger moves his hands in his jacket pocket a little, and you see a shape there, a box-like impression in the fabric. My client never intended these events, you must understand. One of their other contractors proved to be overzealous in an attempt to conceal their mistakes. The result was the regrettable situation you saw in Hexport. But for that all to be for nothing, that would be a waste beyond the original act, piling insult on injury. The stranger sighs. There is much to be gained in a system desperate for peace, for the war to be ended. And wars tend to end when one side concedes. That drive will win the war? The stranger laughs. My client will greatly benefit from its retrieval. Any more is hard to judge without seeing the provenance of the data. Only a few possible futures remain on the belt. My client will facilitate one of the better ones. That's why I'm here. But if you need additional persuasion, I'm authorized to offer you 300 cryo as a reflection of your efforts. The stranger smiles again, his tone never straying from its businesslike calm. Now, can you return my client's drive? The stranger's hand shifts in his jacket pocket. You have the feeling it's not a choice you can deny. Okay. Okay, alright. Yeah, no, I don't trust him. You grip the drive in your pocket so hard the casing starts to crack. You see the stranger's eyes flash a warning. You dash the drive against the metal wall of the passageway, splintering into 1,000 shards, and pepper the two of you with cuts and scratches. Stranger shakes his head. A regrettable decision. Be gone, bot. You hold yourself ready, expecting a retaliation, but it does not come. The stranger simply turns and clunks away down the passage, not willing to waste another word on you. Your transaction is complete. You head back to the rig, and as you do, a weight lifts with each corridor, each junction. As you board the transit shuttle that will take you to Marco's yard, back to the rig, you think of Hexport and what is left of the place. You will never forget what happened in the station, but you will not let it steer your future. Cadet refused to be sucked into that web of secrets, and now you refuse to. There will be no account of Senate Stats crimes. There will be no reckoning. But there will be a life outside of the future they want for the belt. You know it. Alright. Okay. Let me see if we can make an engine component. Yep, there we go. And we're gonna want to go to... Yep, nothing here. Well, nothing to be done there. Alright, we'll go to the hollow. Buy some fuel. Buy supplies. And to Oliveira we go. Stop! A shadowed figure meets you in the docking tunnel. No saboteurs allowed. Hey kid, Seraphim glides forward and ruffles the figure's hair. Ruffles the figure's hair. Still playing sheriff? Nah, just bored, Xander grins. What are you two doing here? He glides alongside you and Seraphim as you drift through the tunnel. None of your business, Seraphim pushes past. No offense, kid, but you aren't actually the sheriff here. You pass through the familiar docks and back into Oliveira. A surprisingly pleasant feeling. Oddly like coming home. You came. Cadence is there in the docking concourse, waiting to greet you. I'm impressed. Seraphim's face immediately erupts into an uncontainable smile. Cadence, he turns to you. You two remember each other, right? Sleeper saved the colony. Cadence's deadpan answer seems intended to cover for Seraphim's awkwardness. Yeah, I remember them. The four of you descend down through the docking towers together, and into Oliveira itself. The colony looks much the same as when you left, though you pick up from Cadence that changes are coming. Carmen's back with a vengeance since Darkside. Cadence smiles. He's all about expanding and improving the colony, which is why I asked you to come, Sarah. The nickname slips out, but both Cadence and Seraphim clock it and glance at you. As you reach the core of the colony, you see the increased activity. There are more colonists than you remember, and they move back and forth with purpose. Carrying crates and tools, the chatter less than usual. We need all the help we can get to sort this place out. Cadence notices you watching the streams of freight and people. Karen wants to do some kind of event, an anniversary, I think, honor the founders and all that. Gonna be a big party. Xander grins. Can't wait. So, Cadence looks between you and Seraphim. What do you think? Up for some colony mandated manual labor? She grins. Seraphim gives you a sideways glance, observing your response carefully. How could you say no? Alright. Okay, so we're gonna help the... That's not what I wanted to do. Scrap silos. Alright, let's help out. Oliver is a new colony, and it is still establishing itself. And needs all the help it can get to grow and thrive. Right, let's go. Rip. Actually, are these? Okay, these are all different things. Working together to run the farm stacks is a job shared by its many colonists. Everyone contributes, and the colony makes sure they are fed. Alright. Refinery shift. To help keep it independent, Oliveira has set up a small hydrogen refinery, but it must be run by volunteers from among the colonists. And here's the canteen. Alright. Feed the cat. And rig gallery. Gonna end the cycle. Another flicker in the dark before waking, and a numbness that follows soon after. You wake slowly and stare out at the flickering stars and distant rocks of the belt. You let the thoughts of fear or panic wash over you. They pass like the soft dust of the belt, disappearing into darkness. You find yourself once more, as you do every morning, as you continue to, cycle after cycle, until you can't. You wonder what part of you has changed, what system is failing. Your frame is silent, as complaints only felt in the ambiguous sensations. The glitches seem random, unpredictable, but also inevitable. They will only increase in number until you reboot yourself. But you do not know what lies beyond that. At least the glitches are dependently familiar. The reboot is anything but. Okay. Don't appear to have a second glitch die. Let's do some stack shifting. There we go. Positive outcome. The farm stacks are in the heart of the Oliveira, and you are rewarded for your work when there is a delicious meal. Alrighty. End the cycle. Yep, 2 glitch die. Refinery shift. To help keep its independence, Oliveira has set up a small hydrogen refinery. But it must be run by volunteers from among the colonists. Negative outcome. Positive outcome. Okay, so this one doesn't result in energy being refilled if we do good. Oh, huh. Alright, there we go. And the cycle. Oof. There we go. The past cycle in Oliveira has been busy enough to take your mind off most things. All the heavy lifting and manual work has been a welcome distraction from the looming specter of the second reboot. And the good mood of the others has been infectious. Seraphim has almost been annoyingly upbeat. His relationship with Cadence, the worst kept secret in the colony. But working alongside them, it's hard to ignore their deep feelings for each other. Xander has been happy because he has something new to rib Cadence about, and Seraphim, with his self-serious manner, is an easy target for pranks and teasing. Xander also hasn't been able to stop talking about the party, which he already seems to have decided will be one of the highlights of his youth. But now, finally, the cycle of the party has arrived. The canteen is done up with hanging life strips, waving gently in the asteroid's microgravity. The strips themselves salvaged from the emergency lighting of wrecked starships. With the work stopped and all the colonists yet to arrive, you find the reboot filling your mind once again, growing like a shadow. Something on your mind there? The voice takes you by surprise. You turn to see a colonist you haven't met before, an older man in some sort of supported chair, his hair shot with gray and his face sallow. Didn't mean to startle you, my apologies. His pale eyes scan you, and just seem like you might need some company. There's a strange look in his eyes that you can't quite place. He's looking at you like you have met many times before, but you have never seen him before in your life. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? He gestures to the canteen with its hanging lights, his chair propelling him forward with little puffs of air. The young people did such a good job. Warms my heart to see it like this. Never thought this rock could ever be home. He looks sideways at you. Have you lived here long? Oh, since the beginning, before there was a here. He smiles. Back when there was just a wreck and a rock. Let's not chat about me, I want to know about you. He turns his chair a little. What's eating you? The way you were staring at those last strips. It was like they're about to leap down and strangle you. His chuckle becomes a cough. Afraid of the future. I can see that. I am myself most days. He sighs. After a certain point, you realize it isn't going to get better. So all you have to wait for is things getting worse. The body of mine is on a downward trajectory, that's for sure. But it's mine, and I've grown into it, and I guess in the end, I like it because it's mine. And it'll carry me all the way to the end, and then go and become something else entirely. I don't know why, but that thought always helps me. He coughs 3 times, hard, like gunshots. The colonist squints at you. Sorry, I'm not good with reassuring people. I just remembered that. He smiles, but I do like chatting. He looks back at the light strips. Really lovely, isn't it? Just beautiful. You look back at the light strips now, as the hum of people arriving filters into the canteen. There's something in the air. Anticipation. The sense of a rare moment passing through. Something to hold onto and then let go. The light strips really are beautiful. When you turn back to the old colonist to agree with him, he is already gone. Hey, sleeper. Seraphim pushes through the now gathering crowd towards you. Got you a drink. He offers a pouch of some amber liquid. Hey. Cadence comes up alongside you and hugs you with one arm. I wonder where you were hiding. She smiles warmly at you with her infectious smile. You think about mentioning the old colonist to her, asking her about him, but Seraphim pushes the two of you. Carmen is about to start. You follow Seraphim's eyes to the front of the canteen, where above the heads of the now quite large crowd of colonists, Carmen floats, surveying the room. We meet this cycle, Carmen begins, his voice loud but clipped, formal in a way you haven't heard before, to first remember those founders of this colony, the lost and still with us. I will never forget the distress call that brought me here, the wreck of the Pilgrim Seed. I will never forget the scenes that greeted me, and I know some of you were there too. A rumble of acknowledgement moves through the crowd, but I also know that many of you weren't. that many of you came here to take refuge from other troubles. And I would like you to be able to remember too. You glance on Cadence, her eyes fixed with incredible intensity on Carmen. They look wet in the glow of the light strips. There were thousands of refugees on the Pilgrim Seed, and too many, far too many, were lost. Those from Ember's Step, Ember's Song, Ember's Hearth, and from the Three Sisters, from Erlin's Eye. Many are not here in Oliveira any longer, taking their own paths across the belt and beyond, but we acknowledge them all, remember them all, lost and found, present and absent, because without them, there would be no colony here. Before the wreck, Oliveira was a handful of buried bays, a scrapper hideout, a place for old and tired mercenaries like me to hide themselves from the universe and forget what they had done. But when the Pilgrim Seed was wrecked, it brought the universe back to Oliveira, and I could not hide any longer. Carmen stares out across the crowd with a hard glare. Yeah. We built the canteen from the Pilgrim Seed. We built our homes, our farms, our refinery. We built our independence from the failed hope. A rustle of discomfort through the crowd. Carmen pauses to let this settle. We should not be ashamed or afraid of this. We will remember this gift. We will build on it. This cycle and every cycle after. We will thank them with our actions. The crowd mutters agreement. Carmen takes a deep breath, straightens up. A weight seems lifted from him, the weight of testimony. Now here, in this room, with you, I will thank them with my laughter. A cheer goes up. I will thank them with my joy, with my celebration. Another roar of approval. We will all thank them as loudly and as chaotically as we can. The room erupts in cheers and applause. Stay still. You watch quietly, not yet ready to be wrenched out of your thoughts and into the celebration. But then you feel a pair of hands on your own, Cadence pulling at you, grinning and crying, and you feel another hand on your other arm. Seraphim, dragging you into the crowd. Suddenly you are in the thick of the crowd, so many bodies in one room, dancing, spinning, and shouting. It is like nothing you have ever seen. You notice the rest of the crew in the melee, a flash of familiar face here and there among the mass of colonists. You see Xander being thrown up in the air by a group of different kids of different stages, laughing madly as he bounces off the ceiling. And for the rest of this cycle, you think about nothing else but the joy of those around you, and the joy it instills in you. Alrighty. You wake up in your berth, the same light that always shines on the belt shining incessantly through the window. You are slow to rise, slow to begin this fresh cycle. At some point, Seraphim arrives back on the rig, with no indication of whether he slept or not. You find him in the cockpit, leaning in the pilot's chair, looking out at the lights of Oliveira, and smiling. Good party. She chuckles. Not sure I've seen anything like it. Same. Seraphim laughs again. You really let it all go, huh? He shakes his head. I love to see it. Seraphim yawns and stretches. So, he sniffs. Oliveira is all fixed up, colonists are happy, blah blah blah. Where to now? Not sure. Well, he smiles. Give it some thought. Seraphim pauses a moment, something passing over him, making him shiver. Hide from Tala. He looks away. Wellspring is still in transition, but the Union Council has taken over. Kirk got what he wanted. The blockage will come down, sure, soon, but... He sighs. I'm not sure I'm ready to revisit that place yet. He looks at you and smiles. When I come back to Tala, I want to have something to show for myself, you know? I get it. Family, he shrugs. Maybe once the reboot is done, once the blockade is down, maybe we can visit then. Seraphim takes a breath. We'll get them. Some cycle soon. We'll get there. Some cycle soon. You aren't sure if Seraphim is trying to convince him, you or not, or himself. He stretches, shaking off his feelings. For now, though, the belt is ours to explore. Oliveira hath filled out our fuel tank. so it really is up to you where we go. He gets up, and while you are deciding, I'm going to go dig up some breakfast. And he glides out of the cockpit. You take a moment to look out across the tiny lights of Olivera, dwarfed by the crater and the wreck that sits at its far end. Not bad. Not bad at all, you think. Alright. Whoop. Huh. Okay, was having a bit of trouble there. Yep. Okay. Okay then. We're gonna go to the hollow. And can we get to dark side? Okay. Alright, go back to dark side. And guess it's time to finish this. Feed our friend the stray. Not sure why I'm doing that. Dispatch shift, courier shift. Alright. Flicker row. Begin reboot. You need to be rebooted to have any chance of surviving, but the outcome is unclear. This step will mean big changes no matter what happens. Wait, what am I putting in? Oh, here we're putting in Seraphim's coin. I guess we need the good luck charm. Alright, let's go. Reboot ready. You turn Seraphim's coin over and over in your fingers as you stand in Flicker Row, crowds pushing past on their way to whatever future awaits them. Your fingers glide over the worn metal, as you imagine Seraphims have, Talas have, in moments of anticipation. Perhaps others, before the coin came to be Talas, have repeated the same ritual, the same nervous routine. But their fingers were human, born, not made. This intrusive thought makes you slip the coin into a pocket quickly, as if it had delivered a shock. You hear a hiss, and the door to the shop slides open, revealing Ankita. You see her eyes scan the crowds almost offensively before she spots you and nods in your direction. Hey, Ankita. She looks around for a moment and approaches you. She looks tired, but her stubborn ferocity bubbles under the surface. Bliss is waiting for you. She nods back towards the shop, which I guess is why you were hanging her out here. Nervous? Of course. She looks around at the crowd. Look, Sleeper, if you want an advice, you have to find a way to keep up with yourself. Change is constant, but sometimes you can get left behind. Ankita looks away, the signs of Flicker Row reflected in her eyes. I just remembered I owe you an explanation. I promised to tell you why I wanted Atsubo out if we managed it. She shakes her head. Guess I'm not very good with promises. Why did you? Ankita is still staring at the signs. I grew up here, Sleeper. Did you know that? She doesn't wait for an answer. After I came to the belt, after Bliss and I, she pauses, not wanting to say it. When I had nothing left, this is where I came. And when I got here, my home was gone. She grimaces. Those Otsubu bastards had destroyed it, strangled the life out of it. I was looking for something to fight for on my own terms. Darkseid became that for me. She sighs. That's all you're getting. Promise kept. Ankita looks over his shoulder. Look, Bliss wouldn't be happy if they saw me out here chatting to you when you're already late for your appointment. She smiles to herself. And I don't want more reasons for Bliss to be unhappy with me. She grabs you by the shoulders and steers you towards the shop's entrance. I'll catch you after. Don't you worry. She pushes you towards the door, and then turns away and disappears into the lights of Flicker Row. You take a final moment, and then wheel yourself inside, leaving the glimmering lights and the shifting crowd behind. Bliss is perched at a console. They turn to you as you enter. Finally, they smile weakly. You were making me think you wouldn't show. I'm ready. I'm sure Seraphim told you, but everything is ready. Bliss gestures to the two couches with straps, freshly built connectors, and a bundle of wires on one end. I hope it will be comfortable for you both. Where's Flint? Was just getting some air. Flint leans in the open doorway, watching you both. Their pale face looks even more drained of color than usual. Flint comes inside the shop and nods to you. Let's do this. They take a shaky breath. I'm ready. Flint and Bliss go silent, and the sound of the crowd outside filters gently into the room, mixing with the whine of the air cycler and the hum of the terminals. There's not much more to say. Bliss looks at you both. Okay. They pause. Let's begin. Bliss helps you and Flint into your couches. You settle there and slide your arms under the straps that will keep you in place. The connector, with its thick bundle of wires, waves above your head. It is hard not to feel exposed, lying here on your back, anticipating what is to come. It is even harder when the memory of waking up to this very same ceiling, with its bundles of dangling tech and scratched plating, forces itself into your mind. You have been here before. Last time, you woke up to fear and panic, woke to a desperate escape and a shattered mind, a reboot interrupted. The thought sets you trembling. But then, staring up at the same ceiling, the trembling dissipates. After all, you are back here now, which means you survived this crisis, grew from it. You took the hit and bounced back unbeaten. All good there? Bliss's face floats in your vision. Nod. Bliss smiles. How about you, Flint? You turn your head and see Flint lying beside you, stiff and still. They manage a tight-lipped nod. Looking at Flint, staring up at the ceiling, like you were a moment ago, you feel the rush of sympathy. After all, they haven't faced this before like you have. They are stepping into a future they cannot see. You have been here before. Now you are just completing the journey. You raise an arm, reaching across the gap between the couches. Your hand touches Flint's. They do not look at you, but they grip your fingers in theirs slightly. Flint's fingers feel different to human fingers. The thick vinyl skin, the repair patches, the pressure of the metal skeleton beneath. You know this is what your touch feels like too, and that recognition is like a connection being made. You close your eyes and feel something flowing between the two of you, a solidarity so embodied that it reverberates within you. I'm connecting you to the terminal. Bliss's voice already feels distant, lost in the noise. You feel the cold click of the connector, the sense of flowing data. I'll be here when you wake up. In the dark, you feel restless. You shuffle your fingers, adjusting your position against the couch. It takes you a moment to notice the sound has gone. The rumble of the crowds, the hum of the machines. The details unsettles you, and so you search for reassurance. You think of Bliss's words. I'll be here when you wake up. You focus on them, on the possibility of waking up, of being somehow renewed. But what would that renewal look like? Your eyes blinking in the lights of Flicker Row. Bliss, Seraphim, and a renewed Flint beside you. But what then? A line stretching out on a screen, a vector leading you ever onwards. Why stop now? But how far does the line stretch? What does it encompass? I want to see more. The belt. The soft curve of rocks, bridging the edge of the system and the space beyond. There is enough here for a lifetime, maybe more, emerging in the shadow of the collapse. But where does the vector terminate? Talon Wellspring, Junian Helion Gate. Honestly, the most fascinating thing, I really want to know about the past. So Junian, there is a quiet at the edge of the belt, the kind that would soothe you now, after all the noise of your struggle. There is so much more of the past than there is of the future. It is material, real, and defines the shape of what is to come. Junie knows how to gather it up, to draw it out, and weave it into a map. An image, the scanner chirps. Its tiny noise indicated the location of a vast wreck. Junie studies the plans, a faint smile on her face. Soon you will delve into this wreck and come up with fistfuls of memory and history. With it, you will build a future. There's a solidarity in that, one which you feel in your chest, an understanding of your pace and time, the satisfaction of finding your role within that. Then you feel it, the insistent pulling of a thread, the unraveling of your very self. The reboot comes on slow, and icy seeping into your mind. Little pieces of you flake off in the flow, fading with distance. You hear a voice, Bliss's voice, so far away now. You reach for it, stretch your every sense towards its familiar warmth. I'm starting the reboot. It is a whisper to the wind, into the wind, pulled away from you the moment it is spoken. See you on the other side. All of a sudden, you wish you could make it stop. The incessant entropy of time, the tumbling of rocks through space, getting further apart every cycle, disappearing into the vacuum ahead. The decay of cells, the degradation of code, the corrosion of rot and rust. You wish in this moment to freeze it all, so you might hang on to it, preserve the warmth, the light, the softness at the heart of things. This thought grips you, tears into you like fear. You feel the ice creeping in, and know that everything will be lost, if not now, then mere moments away. But then you feel it, impossibly. Seraphim's coin, worn smooth by worry, turning in your hand. Time has been pressed into that coin by hands, by fingers. It is a near infinite record of transient touches, each one shaping it in some small way. It is worn and worthless, it is bent and broken, and it is beautiful in all of these things. And so you press the thumb against it. You press your thumb against it, your crooked, calloused thumb, again and again, because you are a broken thing, and you have nothing left but that brokenness and the beauty that shines through it. And then somewhere nearby, a button is pressed, and all at once, one thing ends, and something new begins. Oof. Jump Over the Age game. Created and designed and written by Gareth Damian Martin. Character art, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Music and sound, Amos Roddy. Additional programming, Dan Collier, Matthew Collier. Story and copy editing, Reed MacArthur. Published by Fellow Traveler Operations. Chris Wright, Managing Director. Yep. Oof. Now I just gotta know, is this gonna end with your character waking up, or are we just done forever? Because I'm kind of curious how this goes. Just need to stay up with that weight, I suppose. Special thanks in memory of Jod Galamek. Gilamic. Made with Unity. Jump Over the Age. Games by Gareth Damien Martin. Well, Gareth, thank you very kindly for this game. And then possible future. Finish rebooting your frame. Alrighty. And that is the end of the dat. Huh. Well. That was fantastic. Okay, yeah, no, that was great. That was just... That one's going to stay with me. Alright, I think that's over for this stream. I shall see you all later.